All right, so we're gonna take some questions at the end, but this has obviously been my little secret for the past couple months. Obviously some people know. So I put some stuff together for a couple reasons. Number one, in previous victories, I've always been transparent, and I would like to be just as transparent, if not even more so, in defeat. But I appreciate you coming out. First thing I want to do is I want to thank NBC, Peacock, and Sharon Vaughn for taking a shot. Look, you have to remember, I haven't been on TV in 10 years. So when I got the call, there was a driving force to get me on this show, and NBC and Peacock, and in particular Sharon, made it so easy to say yes. So there's a lot of things I didn't have to worry about, and they made it, so easy. So super grateful for the opportunity to play an amazing game, and because they took a shot on me, and I appreciate that shot. Additionally, people I want to thank everyone who's been supporting me since the beginning. Whether it was back in 2008 all the way up to now, whether you watch Big Brother on Twitch or you're brand new. It's been amazing. It's definitely, being kind of stepped back for the past decade, to kind of be thrust back into everything. It's been really, I appreciate the positivity and the negativity. I like to think, I think it's being exposed to like the Bravo fan base as nothing but love. But I appreciate all the thoughts, both positive and negative, but really the people that have supported, and we're waiting, or we're excited for me to come back and play. And most importantly, my wife Chelsea, when this opportunity came up, she didn't bat an eyelash. I'm like, hey, like, I'd really love to play this game, and life is different now. Like, I have 3 young kids, and she didn't bat an eyelash. And she's like, she knows how much I love to go play a game like this, and to have such a super supportive wife. Like, I'm not here talking to you about this experience without Chelsea, and she's an incredible woman. I'm so lucky that she's my wife. Be sure to check out her business. She does extremely huge corporate gifting. So if you're looking to do any kind of corporate gifting, check out bundledmi.com. She's incredible, and they have an incredible social mission, in which my wife employs adults with disabilities as part of her social mission. So check out bundledmi.com. But realistically, like, this doesn't happen without my wife. So the second I walked off, like, the second I walked away from the circle, and like, it's over. Like, I'm walking, I turn the corner, and the first thing I thought, or the first thing I really said, because the producers were there, I was like, did I let you guys down? And that was my number one concern. And when I said you guys, I meant like producers and production for taking a shot at me, but also you, like, at home. It's like, you waited 10 years, and in my mind, it was like anything less than winning is an absolute failure. Because that's just how I approach these things. And there was a moment at the round table when it was like, and it didn't air, but Kate goes, hey, Dan, you can't win everything. And that never really occurred to me heading into this. It's like, no, I'm going to go win this thing because that's what I do. So I'd say, like, overall, it was a very humbling experience, but it was an amazing experience, and I enjoyed it. And I also learned, like, you can't control everything. There's a moment where you're like, okay, you didn't win, now what? Like, you can't control everything. But what I felt like I controlled was that I hope that, you appreciate, is I played as hard as I possibly could, and I never gave up and go down swinging. And I think it doesn't matter what I do, if it's a show, like, you're always going to get that. So, like, I'm as much as I don't like losing, I'm at peace with it. But I do want to be transparent about everything, including, like, all the mistakes that I made in this game. But it's not just mistakes I made. Like, there were some really shrewd and sharp players in there. a couple of which I severely underestimated. So like just to say it was me making mistakes, I think is very foolish. It was me making mistakes, and there was some smart players in there. The cast was incredible. I mean, the cast was amazing, and you know, you go in and you're like, okay, Janelle, Sandra, Parvati, like, got to get in with them because they know what's going on, and everyone else, you know, we'll see who rises to the top. But there were some like hidden competitors and some tough people, and I think you saw that today in different capacities. But I do think this is like a age old story of like the pride comes before the fall. And one thing I want to talk about before we get into like that in particular, is like how different this is than Big Brother. You know, Big Brother, you know, if you, and this is for like historians and people that are super into reality TV, like Big Brother, like I start really slow, takes me a while to get to know everyone. And something that's often overlooked is I make a lot of mistakes. Like I make a ton of mistakes. I've always made mistakes, but have always had time to recover. Like, hey, you can make a mistake and then you got a week to like come up with a plan, then execute it and like change and adapt. And I also feel like I'm, you know, in terms of Big Brother, like I'm able to go and divide off and have infinite one-on-one conversations, and that builds trust. And that's how I'm wired too. Like if I'm in a huge group, like that's just not how I do my best work. And I think you saw that today. There's a ton of group situations, and like in Big Brother, and if you go back and watch anything and people that are super into Big Brother, you'll see like if there's ever a conflict directed at me or a group situation, I would always remove myself at best, or at least didn't engage. But Traitors is the opposite. Just as I felt like, okay, like I started to turn the corner and like was comfortable with people, you know, I just made too many mistakes with not enough runway to like get the plane off again and recover. And I didn't adapt quick enough. So I have like a list of dominoes that started to fall. But before that, I do want to talk about like the competitors that I completely underestimated. And the top of that list, bar none, I completely underestimated Peter from a strategic standpoint. Like, you know, I loved like being in there with Peter, super straightforward. But from a strategy standpoint, I'm like, I don't watch The Bachelor, but you all have this like premonition of bachelors. It's like a dating show. You don't think anything of it. But he was shrewd and cunning and like took risks. And I was just like, man, he just flat out got me. And like, I tip the cap to that. Like, that's why I love playing these games, is to like, you make a move, someone makes a move, someone sets a trap, and he just flat out got me. That's why I love to play these games. And like, we went at it. You know, there's a moment where it's like, we're sitting at that table. I'm like, I know he knows, like to a certain degree, I'm a traitor, but still, like he would still sit down and be like, all right, it's like, you're on the blue team, I'm on the red team. Let's find a way to hash this out. Is there any way to like figure this out? And I just like, I love playing against someone that is also making moves. And it was just like, I can say nothing but, you know, good game. And, you know, it was a great move, a great trap. But even beyond that, he was such a leader for them. And, you know, it's just, I have nothing to say but like, dude, he got me. But that's what I love about these games, is like, I'm not into like the fighting. I'm into like, hey, let's make a move. Let's try to set up some dominoes and see what happens. And he set up some dominoes, man. So it was, on top of all that, he's a good dude and was so much fun to play with. The other person I underestimated in a different way is clearly Phaedra, not from a strategic standpoint. Like, you know, recruiting Parvati was a strategic move because she's going to bring strategy into the turret. Phaedra, that wasn't really her strength, but I severely underestimated what I call like hand-to-hand combat. Like, she like completely knifed me. You know, I knew very little about Phaedra at all. Like, I saw a bunch of tweets like, Dan, you should see X, Y, and Z that she did on Housewives. You know, I don't know what she did or who she did, but I did get to know her in the house. And I think that's one of the things I tried to do. And people's like, you don't talk, you're quiet. the context is within the game, but like I could tell you probably more about everyone personally in the game. Like Phaedra told me she had like 4 different careers. She's like a funeral director, oddly enough, some kind of like Ricky healer, and a lawyer. And the lawyer part just kind of flew over my head because I'm like, what the heck's a Ricky healer? But anyways, she really, from a hand-to-hand combat, she's very eloquent at the table. From a strategic standpoint, like I always felt like we needed help. But, you know, I tipped the cap to her because, you know, she really shredded me. And the other thing too is I feel like the people have never played these games before, like someone like Phaedra, like she really trusted me. And I can see like in some of the footage that she probably was like a little hurt by that, and it's understandably so. But you know, when I make moves, like the hard thing about this game was that I liked everyone. Like that's not always the case, but everyone in the cast was likable, has stuff going on, and Phaedra was not an exception. I really liked her. But the game's not really about liking people. It's like trying to get to the end. And the thing I got caught up in is like I saw her and I didn't see a path to winning the game with her in it. Like she's insulated, everyone likes her, there's no suspicion on her, and everyone loves her. So like, and undetected. So it's like I was focused. I'm like, okay, I can't win this game with Phaedra in it. There's no way. And I was so obsessed looking like 5 steps down the road. I'm like, okay, when I'm at that last fire and Phaedra's there, if she looks to any Bravo people and it's like decides to flip the switch, I'm toast. And the thing I didn't consider at the time, which would have been helpful, was like maybe Phaedra and I could have won this thing together. Like that just never crossed my mind. And so, you know, that was clearly, you know, not a wise decision. But what ended up happening is now I'm fighting a 2-front war because I'm trying to spend a lot of time figuring out how do I get rid of Phaedra while I'm neglecting the battlefront of the Traitors, you know, like trying to fend them off. So, I mean, that was like clearly like the Traitors is hard enough. You don't need to be fighting a 2-front war. So that was, you know, a huge mistake. So then I just want to talk about a couple people, in particular beyond, you know, Peter and Phaedra. You know, one of the things that, you know, I thrive in these games is connecting with people really outside of the game and then kind of leveraging that in the game. And I spent a significant amount of time with Tamra, Ekansu, and Parvati. You know, I don't want to talk about production too much, but in the first couple days, like you're in these cars with these people and you're not allowed to talk about game. So we didn't talk about game, but I really got to know those 3 people really well. So clearly I was very aware of who Parvati was. But during that time we spent together in the car, I'm like, okay, like I feel like I can really trust you as much as you can in this game. And I trusted all 3 of them. And, you know, that's from like a personal standpoint, like a character standpoint, and also how they operated. So early on, losing like Ekansu and Tamra, which were not my decisions, was a huge blow early on. But I want to talk a little bit more about Parvati. You know, I always feel like in any game like this, you can't win by yourself. There's just no way. And I've been successful, you know, in these competition shows picking one person, whether it was Memphis or Danielle Murphy. I'm like, okay, look, I'm all in on you. And if I pick the right person, let's let this thing ride. And if I'm wrong, then it'll happen. And I never felt that way about I always was like, okay, she's the person I'm picking, no matter what, like taking this thing to the end. And I trusted her 1,000% in this game. And, you know, and also like, I would be lying if there wasn't a part of me. It's like, okay, like I know who she is, you know, it would be tremendous from a like CBS or like a competition show standpoint. Like you put me and Parvati together, like what kind of bizarro world does that happen? It's like I just always looked at her and trusted her and respected her so much as a player. It was kind of like an easy decision because it was that. And then also it's like, okay, who doesn't want to see, you know, at least from like the Survivor Big Brother world, see like us team up and like try to make some heads roll. And I really enjoyed playing with her, and I think she's like a amazing competitor. So I'm gonna answer some questions here in a minute, but I just want to quickly go through like the dominoes that started to fall. You know, and that's the thing, like the whole experience was amazing. Like even though you don't win, it's like I have nothing but good things to say about everyone. Like I really enjoyed everyone, and I think that was like maybe a little bit of a curveball for me, or maybe I was a little naive walking out. I'm like, oh, like I like everyone, like everyone's super cool. And then you know you get out and like you realize, okay, not everyone feels the same way you do, which you know I understand for different reasons. But I want to run through kind of like all the mistakes I made. Like I said, we've been transparent in victory, and it's not going to be any different in defeat. I think you know, naturally I'm a more quiet person, which I know maybe if you watch on Twitch a lot, you're like, that's kind of weird, but it is. And especially like in this arena of huge personalities, like I always fade back. Like it doesn't matter what the game is. I'm like, okay, let me assess things. Let me see who I can talk to. And, you know, I try to just get with people one-on-one, and that's how I work. That's just how I operate. So I think like that was you know, in Big Brother, I got a lot of time to do that all day, every day, relentless. And it's like tiresome. Like trust me, it's a lot. But like this, there was just not a lot of runway, and I didn't adapt to that quick enough. The other thing, I think that was like the first thing, the first kind of like pulling of like the yarn that started to unravel was when Deontay left the game. He and I were very close in the game. He had a huge voice and was an amazing leader. Like he got heat off me and he trusted me. So him leaving, okay, I'm like, okay, that's tough, but we're gonna keep moving. Another mistake I made in the game was when I won the shield. I really wasn't trying to win a shield. Like I didn't look at the hats, I didn't read the sign, and I rip it open and one's on the floor. I'm like, okay, is this gonna be shady if I hadn't prepared for it. Like in my head, I'm like, I wasn't thinking about it. Had I been thinking about it, if I got a shield, I would have put it in my pocket, but I saw it and I'm like, oh man, like someone's gonna see this, think I'm shady. So I just put it around my neck. I'm like, in hindsight, that was a huge mistake because could have leveraged that for like I could have showed it to a few people and be like, hey, like I trust you, I'm a faithful, but don't tell anyone. So like all these like little mistakes start to pile up, and then you know you make a huge mistake down the road. The Ekitsu murder, that was a shock to me. Everyone's like, oh, didn't you know she got murdered? Parvati did it right behind you. No, but by the side note, Parvati was amazing, and like I love that. Like when it was time to do it, it was like normal Parvati. She wasn't nervous or anything. But I had no clue. It'd be like something happening here. I had no clue. And like I said, Ekin-Su was in that car with me, so like I felt good about her, and I think vice versa. So losing her was tough. When Kate entered the game, I was like, just my eyes rolled. Like I like to have things like planned out. Like, hey, here's the next step. And the reason the Kate coming in was tough is because I watched the first season. I know her personality. I think she's awesome. I think she's hilarious. But I think she's someone that can smell like BS a mile away. And you saw exactly like things played out. Like she's tough. Like if something doesn't sound right, she's not just gonna sit and wait. She's gonna like call you to the table. She's hilarious, by the way, side note. So that like, and I tried to connect with her, but it just didn't happen. Another huge mistake was the Tamra murder. Like, so talking Ekin-Su and Tamra and Deontay, like Tamra and I, like, I'm telling you, those Ekin-Su and Tamra were like, okay, like these are people I've connected with. I want to protect them. I don't want to murder them. And then, you know, I felt like it wasn't the right time, you know, with Parvati and Phaedra fighting. It wasn't the right time to like override that now, but it was a huge hit because I'm just like, man, I really don't want her to go, but you know, you kind of got to pick and choose your battles. and I'm almost done here, but it's a long list of mistakes. All right, I made a lot of mistakes in the game. And then we'll take some Q&A. Another mistake I made was avoiding Janelle. I was like super concerned about people seeing me and Janelle together and lumping us in together, like, oh, Dan and Janelle, Dan and Janelle, Dan and Janelle. But in hindsight, like, having that much separation, like, sketched her out. And then, when she came after me, like, I was stunned, not just at that table, but like in the turret. Like I expected her to come after me, but she like totally blew up my game, stuff that like I knew people didn't know about, like about Big Brother. It was all over the table. And I'm like she dropped a nuke on my game, and I was just like, okay, like I knew Janelle was going to come after me, but I didn't know it was going to be like that. And I was like, I've never been stunned in a game, and she stunned me. And I was just like, man, I wasn't prepped for that. And it carried over into the turret. I never really recovered, like, from because we went from there, rest of the night, and then the turret. And I'm still thinking about, man, like she rattled me. And, I trace that back to me not doing a good enough job connecting with her. And then clearly, probably the biggest mistake was gambling on Bergie. It was just a point where him and Phaedra were so close. He was so vocal. I'm just like, let's just take the shot. And that goes back to underestimating Peter. I'm just like, there's no way Peter from The Bachelor is like moving all these pieces, setting this elaborate trap. I'm like, that's like something I would do. Like maybe Parvati, but Peter. And then, walked right into it. And the funny thing is, because like I kept a journal when I was watching the last episode where I decided to go after Bergie, not Parvati or Phaedra. Like I'm watching like Parvati say, hey Dan, I think this is a bad idea. I think they're setting us up. Let's go after someone safe. Like in my mind, I'm watching that for the first time. I'm like, did she really say that? Like, cause I'm like, I felt like I would have listened to Parvati because I really respected her. But that's how stunned I was. Like when I was watching that, I'm like, is this AI? Like I completely I just was locked in on Bergie and I didn't hear it. And that was, clearly a huge mistake, because I wanted to recruit Parvati because like can't do this thing alone. And like she has so much insight and experience. Like you're supposed to use that insight and experience, not like put a blinder up. And one of the things that like, I guess the last thing, there's a moment they didn't show, but Peter came up to me in the like 11th hour. It's like, hey, like, will you vote out Parvati and, you'll be able to stick around? I'm like, no, like it's not happening. In my mind, I had my plan of going after Phaedra. And like I said, like I picked Parvati, and it's like, yeah, well, that could have bought you another day. Who knows what could happen? Yeah. But at the time, like I just made the best decision I felt like I could with all the information I had. Like now that you're zoomed out with a bird's eye, I don't know. I was just all in with Parvati, and I wanted to take the shot at Phaedra because I didn't think anyone else was going to do that, and I couldn't see winning. And it comes down to the last thing, which was attack, going after Phaedra. I felt like the plan was good. And one of the mistakes I made is I didn't tell really anyone that I was going after Phaedra because I was afraid of her finding out and her being prepared. And my whole thing was like, the element of surprise is so important, and it served me so well in a lot of these games. I'm like, if Phaedra has like an inkling that this is happening, like I'm dead in the water. But it was too late. At that point I hadn't built enough social credit up with other people to make the plan work. And I didn't know that until I started, but the overall strategy was like, lay low, be quiet, be a quiet faithful, so that when I do talk and I'm right, everyone's not going to worry about me. Like, oh, he got us a traitor. He couldn't be a traitor. And so I thought the plan was good. It just was too late. And, I lost a hand-to-hand combat fight, and I didn't lose it. I got murdered, like literally by Phaedra. She was just she was she was amazing at defending herself, and it's like, what am I gonna do? Like, it's like I went down to Phaedra, she sliced me. It's I think maybe if I pulled the trigger a week earlier with Janelle there, and if I was more open with like Trishelle and even CT, maybe like I think the timing was off, and I didn't have any horses behind me. But I felt like I made the best decision I could at the time. It just didn't work out, and it's disappointing that I didn't win. Hope I didn't let you down, but I hope I did my best. I never gave up, and that's when I play these games, that's at least hopefully what you can hang your hat on, is that I'm always going to try and do something even when it's bleak. I'm going to try something. But I loved it. It was an amazing experience. The cast was awesome. The hard thing was, I mentioned this a little bit, it's hard to develop like feelings of rivalry, like, oh, I got to take this person down, because I really genuinely liked everyone. So like in other games, like, okay, this person's on the other side of the fence, we're going head to head, it's like, okay, you got that. This, I'm like, oh, like I like Phaedra, like I like Peter. It's like it was such a different experience in a unique way. But in hindsight, like, if I could change everything and make the perfect moves, like, of course I would do that, but that's not the reality. In reality, I wouldn't change anything. It was a world-class experience, from top to bottom, from like production to hanging out with everyone, to like how they took care of us, so it's just been an amazing experience, and hope you enjoyed it. So thank you for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm gonna take some questions now if you got them. But it was a lot of fun. Yo, Sandra, what's going on? All right, I'm gonna start with Twitch. I'll try to go back and forth here. Do I know who wins? I can't talk about. The only thing I can talk about is up to this episode. Am I going on another show in 10 years? Maybe. All right. Did you? Holy cow! There's a lot of questions. Do I regret being so quiet in the first? Man, there's a lot of questions in the first. No, that's the other thing too that I mentioned, is that like in one of the challenges, the game flat out told me, Dan, you're being too quiet. Like whatever the challenge was with the scarecrows, and it's like I just didn't adjust fast enough. Do you think the show fueled my fire to play Big Brother again? I think no. It's kind of the opposite. It's like, I have no better way to say this, but like this was like the cherry on top, and I love cherries. Like this was such a fun experience. I didn't have to worry about anything. I got to talk to my kids, talk to my wife. It was just, I don't think I could ever play Big Brother, probably, or any other game ever again after this. It was just, this was like, it was perfect. Obviously it didn't play out how you want it to play out. We didn't win, but it was awesome. How would you have done as a faithful? I don't know. You probably would have seen a very different Dan, but I didn't want to play as a faithful. Wasn't killing Pete a win-win to get you off suspicion? Yeah, I didn't even consider it. Like I never considered it. I didn't see Peter as like a strategic threat. I saw him as like a leader, but I didn't see if someone who's like could outthink me. And I was, very, very wrong on that. Yo, thank you guys for all the love too on Twitch. I appreciate it. Did I know I was going to be a traitor before the show began? I had no clue. Like I stated my case, like one of the last days in the hotel before the game, Sharon came in, who's the head of NBC Unscripted and the head of production for Studio Lambert, came in like super casual. Like I'm like wearing like pajamas or something. I didn't know they were coming, and they're like, hey, like, I'm like, hey, Sharon, and like he's like, this is like the head of the studio, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on? Like, do you want to be a traitor or faithful? And I started like pitching them right there. I'm like, please, like, here's why I want to be a traitor. I don't want to be a faithful, da 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 da. And then I said something, and I saw him laugh, and I'm like, okay, if I get a chance to say this to Alan, I'm definitely gonna say it. It didn't make the cut. But I guess it's super. It's like I think it all like lines up with the pride comes before the fall. But I won't tell you what I said. Have you maintained a relationship with any of the players outside of the game? Yeah. I've talked to a handful of people. Janelle, obviously, Parvati, Sandra, talked to Peter, Kevin, tried to connect with Tamra, have not connected with her. I've DM'd with almost everyone. I haven't talked to, like, I like all these people, everyone, all of them. Adam Graham, sorry I didn't call you back for the Nicole story. I'm sorry. I've DM'd with Phaedra. I don't think she's thrilled with me. And I've talked to Ekansu. I've talked to Ekansu a lot too. I'm sorry. I don't think Phaedra is thrilled with me. That was my take. And I understand. I completely understand. I think she trusted me a lot and was probably very surprised. Do I wish I recruited Janelle as a traitor? No. Because I always felt like Janelle and I were like this. Also, Janelle is a tornado and an amazing competitor. And I just, like, I felt like I had someone on my team on the other team, if that made sense. So it didn't make sense to bring her over. Why didn't you go after Parv? You could mention the reason I never went after Parvati is because she was the person I picked to put 1,000% of my trust in, and I just wasn't gonna turn on her. I just didn't think I could win this thing alone, and I trusted her implicitly, and my plan was to get to the end with her. And who knows if that would have been I don't know. Who knows if that would have been a good idea, or if she might have sliced me at the end. I'd like to think not, but I wouldn't have been surprised either. Did I know what Phaedra did to Candy on Housewives? I have no clue. The only thing I know is that people on Twitter said, Dan, I can't believe you didn't know X, Y, and Z about Phaedra. I don't know. I knew nothing about Phaedra other than Atlanta Housewives. That's it. Rooting for Peter now that you're gone. Dude, I have nothing but good things to say about Peter. I tip the cap. Like, that's the thing that, like, I love. Like, I love that, like, he's making moves. He got me. It's like, I can't be mad at that. It's a great move, man. I have talked to Parvati, yeah. I was impressed with Peter. Peter strategic. I was impressed with Peter strategically and as a leader. And Phaedra, I was impressed with her hand-to-hand combat, for sure. For sure. All right, I'm going to take a few questions from Instagram. If you're on Twitch, at me so I can... am I going to have anyone else from the Traitors on the podcast? I hope to, for sure. Yeah, and like that's the thing, like I saw stuff on Twitter about like, oh, like Peter's the Bachelor, like you're getting got by the Bachelor. He's smart. He's a smart dude, man. It's not like he had me fooled, like the guy is an intelligent individual and I like him a lot. Yeah, though, the interesting thing for me about John was very vocal. Like, even in that last round table, like, he came after me too. And, John was very vocal in the house. When Peter told you he trusted you by telling you he had the shield, why didn't it raise alarm bells that night? The reason it didn't raise alarm bells is because I was stunned from Janelle coming after me. And, like, if you weren't here earlier, I was shocked when I was watching the episode back and Parvati's like, he's tricking us. This is a bad idea. Let's do something safe. And in my head, I was watching that for the first time. Like, I didn't remember that at all. Do I regret going on the Traitors? Not at all. Not at all. It was amazing. I loved every minute of it. Who should you root for now? Parvati, for sure. You cried when I got out. Don't cry. It was fun. Yo, thank you for the raid, Corey. Hope all's well, man. Would I have recruited Peter if I survived? I didn't know. That's the other thing. Like, it's like I didn't have nearly as much time as I'm used to. It's my fault to like strategize. Like some of the stuff was like shooting from the hip. Um, but like that's something like I like to like not only know all right, who's recruiting next, what are the dominoes that fall after that. This was just a very quick game. I loved it though. I loved it. Thoughts on Sandra's game? I loved working with Sandra. I mean, like Sandra was like, I felt good with her. Um, I liked her. Like I was never gonna go after her. Sandra's dialed in though, man. Like you got to be careful. But like my favorite thing though was like getting to know Sandra. She's so real, and I just enjoyed my time around her. Like it's I just enjoyed the whole thing. Like there's times when we're off camera, I have like a fond memory. Like Sandra and I are playing cards. And I'm just like, man, I'm sitting here playing cards with Sandra. This is pretty freaking amazing. So it's kind of like there was moments when I was just like a fan in there for sure. What's up, Sandra? Sandra, you need to come on here if you want. No, and like Sandra to me was a candidate somewhere down the road to bring in, like to recruit, because just needed help in there, man. But I just like to me this was like such a dream. Like I wanted to go play a new game with some tough people. And there were some tough people there and some people who I didn't think were tough and then were really tough. And I looked right past them. Who did I bond with that I didn't expect to? That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I have to think about that. When you're planning on recruiting Parvati, why did you talk to her so much the first day? I don't know, because I know people are like, well, you're like kind of like setting her up to like, you know. I think I was like trying to feel out, like, I don't know. She was like the person I'd go to and talk to about the game. So it's like, that was it, you know? Am I back in retirement? Yeah, I love my life, man. Like I got 3 young kids. It was, why not go after Phaedra earlier? I think that, you know, that was one of the mistakes. Like I think maybe doing it a week earlier, I don't want to say the outcome's different, but it's maybe has a better chance. I thought you were planning on throwing Parvati under the bus. Why did I target Phaedra? I've answered that already. Yo, HLK Roger. What's going on? I appreciate it. Sandra, thanks for being here, by the way. But no, I mean, yeah, I hope Sandra does well. I don't, it was hard because you liked everyone. But the Sandra Janelle moment, I think, was one of, as like a fan, was my favorite moment in the house. Yeah, there's gonna be a reunion. We shoot. I don't know if we still have a reunion to shoot. Yeah, Sandra's on Instagram. Check her out. What's her Sandra? What is we got to change Sandra's Instagram. I mean, what is it? Sandra DDT or something. Yo, I'm gonna add on some people on. Let me take one more Twitch question, then I'll add on a couple people from. We'll do a couple lives on Instagram. Yo, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. I just like. I walked away. I'm like, I hope I didn't let production down, and I hope I didn't let the people that were waiting 10 years to see me come out down. Because I just think, I mean, to me, the measure of success was victory or it was failure. Your husband said there's no way he'll name Phaedra. She'll jump across the table. No, it was fun. What? All right, I'm gonna add some people on Instagram here. Please, if I add you on Instagram, please don't let me regret it. Like, just be, please. All right, Bella. I'm gonna, if you have a video question, hop on and I'll add you. I'll do a couple on here. It was a hard game. It was definitely hard. I loved it though. was good nostalgia. I'm glad. It seems scripted. I can assure you, nothing about the show was scripted. None of it was. They were out of the way, man. That like when you got those there's you don't need to script anything with any of those people. They're television gold. Yo, sorry, Brittany, I did my best. Did I get to pet Alan's dog? I didn't want to. What's Sandra's question? Sandra, what's your question? Sorry, Roxio. I don't know if that's how I pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, how are you? Good. Are you Bella? Hey. Oh, no. Time flies, huh? I hope you enjoyed it. That's all I can ask. Okay, good. Good, good. Do you have a question? Okay. You just want to come on and say hi? Okay. Well, I appreciate it, and thanks for dating me, saying last time you watched me, you're in elementary school. I appreciate it, pal. I'll see you guys. Bye. Okay. Could you hear that? I can't. I'll move the mic closer. Sandra says, "How often did you enjoy the boiled eggs and salmon?" What? That's it. That's Sandra's question. I was like, I was waiting for Sandra to be like some strategic thing, like, "Hey, at what point were you looking to recruit me?" Sandra, I was looking to recruit you. We had to get rid of someone else first. All right, let me add some more people on. How often? I've never had salmon like that, and boiled eggs I like, but I don't have them. All right, let's go. The more I'm just gonna say, like, if you have your first name and last name, in the thing, I'm more likely to pick you than if it's like Big Brother fan 1985 or something. As I say that, I'm gonna add someone named RizGod34.
I like CT was super endearing. I really like CT a lot. Hey, what's up, RizGod?
Hey, Dan, what's going on, man? I'm actually pumped to be talking to you. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. First, I just want to say I'm a huge fan. Like, I think the previous person, I've watched you ever since I was a little kid. I'm hoping to be on reality TV one day. I like to think I'm kind of got some sort of Dan Gheesling in me.
Oh, hey.
Humbly.
Be careful
but
now.
my question is, obviously in the reality TV world, like, everybody knows you as one of the best to ever play. Going into something like the Traitors, were you nervous that people were going to be like, oh, you know, Dan is one of the greats, he's easily a traitor? And if so, how were you good at reflecting it for such a, you know, long time?
Yeah, no, that was definitely like a concern going in, because for me, I'm like, I at least want to have a crack at this, but it's also like, you know, you kind of don't want it any other way. But I was super pleasantly surprised when I got out of the car. I'm like, no one knows who I am. Like they don't know.
Right.
You know, like Sandra, I met Sandra. She knows. Janelle knows. Parvati, I don't know if she watches Big Brother. I don't think she does. And I think Trishelle knew, but Trishelle came up to me and was like, I want to work with you. She's like, I'm a huge Big Brother fan. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I knew Peppermint was very savvy with, like, probably knew a lot of minute details about Survivor and Big Brother. But outside of that, like, that was my concern, and it didn't become a concern. I thought, like, okay, I never have to worry about this because no one knows until Janelle let everyone know, and I'm like, bruh, like, this is not good. You know, it was like, and like everyone's like was like, I don't know, because no one knew. No, I'm just like a quiet guy, man.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know. But no, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you so much, Dan.
No
I appreciate
problem.
it, man.
All right, we'll add some more people. Thank you guys for being here, by the way. Can you repeat the question so Twitch can hear it? Yeah. No, I got nothing against Janelle. She was trying to get me out. I've nothing like. It was a good move. It was like scorched earth. I can't be mad at her. Why did they keep saying you won twice? Yo, Sandra's coming on. Hold on, screenshot this. Screenshot this. This is like, Chad, I'm a fan. Like, I watch like OGs. They're the legends.
Wait, but how do I but you can see me, but it says like, okay, hold on. Oh, okay. Listen, the
Sandra.
reason I was asking about the boiled eggs
Yeah.
was because I'm guessing you guys are constantly wanting to murder me because by the time I get to breakfast, there's no boiled eggs, no salmon. I have to eat really, really fast because Alan is coming to talk about the mission and who got murdered. So I think you guys talked about murdering me several times.
This is why I like Sandra. It's like what you see is what you get, man. There's like, Sandra, I just want to let you know, like, and I tried to like play this down, like playing the game with you was just like sometimes I just would like look over and be like, that's a 2-time winner survivor eating eggs. I mean, it was just fun, you know what I mean? And like I know we had met for like what in 2009 for like a little bit, you know?
Yeah, in hearts, but I think you went several times.
No, I just went that one time. That was it. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you were on the list though, Sandra. Not the list to murder. I'm just telling you, I'm like, how do we get her up here? Because, you
I
know.
wanted to be a traitor so bad. But I keep saying, like, when I listen to you and Parv and Phaedra talk and explain everything, I'm like, I know why they picked them because they're not blunt and they don't just blurt it out like I do. I just say it and that's it. Where you guys have like 2 or 3 or 4 sentences as to why you do something. So I love that you guys are the traitors.
Well, it was an amazing cast, and like I just want to let you know, like I genuinely, because I know sometimes like you do these shows and you're like, oh, like I genuinely enjoyed like hanging with you, and I felt like, oh hey, you want to say hi to Sandra? Yeah. Oh, my wife came down because
Hi.
that's my
You're
wife
my
Chelsea.
favorite.
Thank you. I appreciate that. One day we're gonna meet when we go to California.
For sure. I appreciate how real you are.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know she won Survivor twice.
Yeah, I know. You're a badass.
Thank you.
She came all the way down to say that, but we're
Oh, that's
watching.
awesome.
She's like Sandra's my favorite. I'm like, she's mine too. Just cause like in that arena, like you're so real. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not putting on an act. At least I didn't feel like that. But no.
Yeah, and a lot of people ask me what was I doing, and I'm like, I'm playing Survivor. I want everyone to like me because on Survivor, they're not going to give you the $1 million if they don't like you. Just like on the Traitors, if they don't like you, they're going to banish you or murder you. And I didn't want that to happen to me. But I have another thing for you to tell them. Remember when they tried to put you in that ugly suit? You remember that?
I wasn't gonna bring
story.
anything. That's the only time. You tell it because I didn't want to bring it up because it's like a little bit. We'll just tell. So they tried to put me in a suit. Describe what the suit looked like.
It was ugly. It was really ugly, and I could understand why you were like, I'm not gonna put that suit on. And I was laughing like, oh shit, they're gonna force him to put that suit on. But you stuck to your guns and you're like, I have my own clothes. Which for me that was an issue too, because I guess they really didn't like a lot of my wardrobe, but because I'm a size 12 in the UK is like I guess maybe a 16 to them, to where they were bringing me 12s and they wouldn't even button up or zip up. And I'm like, hey, I have breasts. I can't even get the zipper up. So, you know,
I saw you in this episode with that like orange like deal on. I'm like, okay, Sandra.
that was mine. All my
I knew that was.
ponchos are mine. But I guess they didn't like my style too much. But I'm just always like in sweats and Under Armour shirts, and I'm just chilling.
Oh, you're great, man. And like for my wife to come down for something like this, like she doesn't do that stuff. But I know she really wanted to meet you and say hi. So thanks for coming on, Sandra. We got to talk. So I'll see you next week.
Yep. We will see each other next week. All right, I'll get off so that you can keep chatting it up.
Sandra, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you.
So right away, I missed you. I was like, fuck, Dan's not here anymore. Well, he was a traitor, but I would have wished he wasn't. All right, guys.
All right, see you, Sandra. Bye. Kyle says, do you think some people forgot his game personally? Yeah, I guess that's understandable. All right, we'll do a couple more. Do I think I would have been better faithful? I don't know. I didn't want to play some faithful. All right, let me see if I any. Man, there's a lot of people waiting. Who was the last one? Riz God. Hold on, I'm just trying to pick someone to add. See if there's anyone I recognize. All right, Chad, is there any way to like screen this? Yo,
What's up,
are you
man?
Sam?
I am. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for being back on our TV after so long. We've missed you.
I appreciate it.
I just have one quick question.
Yeah.
After being on a different show and obviously being in a variety of different comps, now having some comps that are kind of more team oriented, what would you say is the toughest comp that you have participated in?
Ooh. I would say like one of the reasons I wanted to do the show is because going into it, I'm like, okay, I've seen the competitions. They're like, you know, they're age appropriate. I don't know what I think the average age was like 48 or something in the house. But they're all fun. But I mean, I think going back in the day, like any of those endurance challenges were pretty brutal, or like the ones when you're like falling down trying to fill up something. But this was like, I went to this, I'm like, I don't have to worry about all that. I mean, the one with the one today, it was like kind of tough, but it really wasn't that bad.
Well, that's why you hear all the other reality TV people kind of say like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'm like, is it like comparable to like BB comps? Like,
Well,
I can't imagine.
well, the other thing I told my wife when we were doing that challenge today, I'm like, I'm holding the rope, but I'm not pulling. I'm like, I'm not like, I'm not trying to help anyone like get closer to a shield or anything. One of the really like, and I love like the little time I spent around Kate. Like we're about to do that challenge, and Alan's like, "Oh, you can win $20,000," and Kate goes, "Alan, I'll pay you $20,000 not to do this challenge." And I'm just like, she is hilarious, you know.
She's made for TV for
Yeah,
sure.
she's awesome. But thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it. It's nice meeting you.
Thanks so much.
Why did I decide to recruit Parvati? Was there anyone else? It was like Parvati was the only decision for me, 100%. 1, 2, 3. Thanks for deleting that. I'm trying not to be. I'm sorry you cried. I'm sorry. Don't cry. Don't cry. I'm still alive. All right. I'll do 3 more. Let me see. Carter, you're up, man. The round tables were super intense. Definitely, like, I feel like Survivor people probably like that probably was like, you know, more what they're used to. Yo, what's going on, Carter? How are you?
Hi, I was not expecting you to actually do this, so this is awesome.
Yeah, what's your question, man? Thanks for coming on.
See, I had a question about Big Brother, but now I feel like it's stupid because I feel like I know the answer,
No,
so maybe I'll
fire
do a
away.
different one. If there was in some perfect world that they did this huge, not huge, but like an actual Legends or all winter season, do you think that you'd get pulled out of retirement one more time, or is this like officially your swan song?
Carter, thanks for coming on. So people on Twitch, Carter asked if Big Brother does like an enormous legend season, would I do it? Nah, like this was just, this set the bar so high and it was different. And I feel like this was like exciting. And it's like Big Brother, like, you know, like I've done it twice, you know, like it's not going to be the second funeral. It's just, it was like, it's time for, you know, I felt like there was time for something new.
For sure.
This was the right time, right place, right show. And I think that's it for me, Carter. But thanks for coming
Thank
on,
you.
man.
I thought I was pulling for you. I thought you had the second funeral in your back pocket.
I did my best, man. I did my best.
All right. Thank you so much. It was awesome getting to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I know you didn't want to, but looking back, do you think flipping on Parvati would have worked. Peter came up to me and is like, "Hey, will you vote out Parvati?" Basically saying like, it's like, we can keep you if you vote out Parvati. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I wanted to work with Parvati all the way to the end. I didn't think we'd have a shot to get Phaedra out. I'm like, I can't win with Phaedra in the game. All right, we'll go 2 more. Oh, this tells you mutual followers. Okay. All right. Am I still gonna be doing Trader Q&A every week? Probably not, but I'll live tweet. But now it's about like, hey.
Wow, Dan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you
your name?
so
Where
much.
are you from?
I'm from Oklahoma.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice
What's
to
your name?
meet
Holly?
you.
Okay.
Yeah, my name's Holly.
Nice.
I'm a huge Big Brother fan, and so when I saw the casting release for Traitors, I recently got into Traitors, and I just freaked out because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to keep up with season 2 because you're going to be on it.
I appreciate that.
But my question's going to be a little bit different tonight. So I was a study abroad student in Scotland.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so my question for you tonight is, did you guys have an opportunity when shooting the show to kind of get out and explore Scotland and learn a little bit about the culture while you were there? And if so, what were some of your favorite things about Scotland?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, when we're there, it's all business. The day I got banished, it like fell on like an off day. Like the next day was an off day, so I had a day to like go out. And I'd say the highlight for me was I went to like this little fish and chips place, so I actually had like, and it was awesome. But it was, I mean, we got to see like certain parts just in transit. But everyone was super nice, and it was a beautiful area.
That's awesome. Wow, Dan, thank you so much for taking my call.
No,
you just made my whole year.
No, thanks for coming on, and thanks for watching the show.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Why didn't you pin the murder on Phaedra? All right, we'll do a couple more. No, we stay in the castle. What do you mean? Hey Dan, I'm Brittany Haynes' friend from Disney. All right, hold on. You're followed by Jerry McDonald follows you. I may have to. All right, if Jerry follows you, you must be related to him. How many rooms are in the castle? Legit? It was huge. Hey.
What's up? Oh my god.
It says Jerry McDonald follows you.
Jerry
He's
does
the real Jerry.
Follow me.
Yeah. What's your name and where are you calling from?
So I'm Hannah Panda. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm overwhelmed, but I'm gonna try to calm down a little bit.
For coming on.
So my biggest question is, who surprised you most from the camps? Is it Bravo? Is it Love Island? Is it CBS? Biggest question, who surprised you most?
Yeah, I think the biggest shock for me was Peter. Like I stressed to you enough. Like, really likable. I knew he was a good leader, but I'm like, this dude, there's no way that this dude is setting this elaborate trap. It's like so much work. It takes so much thought. It's like, there's no way. And he did it. You know? Yeah. It's like, he was a huge shock. I just didn't see it coming at all.
No, same. And, you absolutely slayed. I love you so much. Peter absolutely surprised me too. 3 times in a windmill surprises me also.
You know, I see that on Twitter. I didn't look into it, but I just know Peter is Peter from the Traitors. I never saw him on TV.
Of course.
But thanks for coming on.
You're like, yes, of course.
Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. Big fan.
Thanks.
Do you have any urge to say any Twitch isms in the the castle. So for people that don't know, I broadcast on Twitch 5 days a week at 9:30 in the morning, and there's like we joke around a lot, but in no shape or fashion was there any time when I was like, "Hey, let me like mess around like I do on Twitch in the house," you know? I just yeah, Kelly, hop on. She was taking screenshots to show Jerry. I think the entire shooting was like 3 weeks. It was awesome. I mean, like I just can't like how do I say this? I've just been open about telling people if you get the call to do the show, it's an absolute no-brainer. You have to do it. Have to do it. I'm sorry, Anita. I did my best. All right, how do I add more people on? I just have invite to join, questions. Okay, request. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Why did you tweet Traitors season 2 winner? I didn't tweet that. Why do they have to do it? The reason they have to do it is because they take such good care of you. It's a fun game. It's like there's nothing bad about it. There's literally like everything was amazing. How were I with CT? I really like CT. I got to know kind of about his life, and like that's the thing I could tell you about everyone. I'd never built any game relationship with a lot of people. Yo, Callie, thanks for popping in. Yeah, I do have a podcast. It's on Spotify and iTunes. All right, cool. We'll do one more. No, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if people think I'm like BSing. I liked everyone in the house. There was not anyone I'm like, oh, I don't like you. Did I watch any other seasons? Preparing, I watched the first season again, and I watched the UK season, and then I watched some of the Australian season and ran out of time. Sorry, I'm trying to add one more person. You just finished the episode. I'm sorry. Was there anyone in the game you had a great relationship that wasn't shown? I think Sandra. Like Sandra and I felt like we're on the same page a lot. I did have something special planned for tonight on Twitch. We're gonna do it tomorrow though. We're gonna do a Traitors simulation. So I went ahead and had everyone from the cast recreated. And we're gonna do a simulation tomorrow and see how it goes in the morning at 9:30. Jordan, what's going on? By the way, Jordan Knuckles, in the chat right now. If you see the picture, my Traitors picture, the one that the red X will be on. She took that picture, by the way. She came to my house and took it because I don't have headshots. Sorry, I'm waiting to add someone in. Hey Dan, why wait so long to take your shot? Why wait for the round table? Because I didn't want to tell a lot of people because I didn't want Phaedra to know. I felt the element of surprise was so important to stun Phaedra. I thought it would help. In reality, it didn't really matter. I think taking the shot earlier may have increased the chances of it happening, like in hindsight, but I don't know that the outcome would have been any different. Video is bad quality. I'm sorry. Sorry, I can't add anyone. Yeah, there's a ton in hindsight I would have changed about my game, like seeing it after, but the decisions I made in the game I wouldn't change because I just tried to make the best decisions I had with all the information that I had. Sorry, it's just not loading, guys. Did anyone on the show mention you play video games on Twitch daily? No, I think I talked to Johnny about it. I think Johnny knew what Twitch was, but I don't really think anyone else understood. And it's not like we talked about it much. What would I have done if I was a faithful? Not been happy. Yo, Will, what's going on, man? Hope all's well. Who do I talk to the most? I talk to a lot of people. Yo, Mad Dog, appreciate the love on Twitch. Thank you. Yo, DJ, what's going on? Congrats on all the offers. I got a phone call about you from Wisconsin, by the way. I meant to text you. They want you to go to their spring practice. Were I disappointed that I left the game early? Yeah, of course. I wanted to go all the way. This is going to be my last show. I think it's probably safe to say this will be my last show. Did I know who was cast before? No. Alan was super cool. Alan was super cool. I think Traitors is the asterisk. But I think I have so tomorrow I'm doing all the interviews tomorrow. I have I think I have a short one with Rob Has a Podcast, but not Rob. I saw that, I'm like, bro, like, Rob, take it easy, buddy. Like, you can still interview me. You don't have to send someone else to do it. And then I asked, so I looked at the list and I asked to do Sharon Tharp's last because she's been like down since day one. I'm like, okay, like, cause there's like, I don't know, there's 15 interviews and they're all like 15 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm like, well, if I do one with Sharon, like, let's not have it be capped. No, it's not with Taryn. I met Taryn in person. That at least I would understand, but I didn't like, I read it, I'm like, it's not Rob. Like, bro, Rob, what are you doing, man? Like, you're just reacting to content. You can take 15 minutes and interview me. Why does Rob hate me? Good question. No, I mean, like, it's I'm not trying to like be a jerk. I'm just joking, but I didn't recognize the name. Sorry, I'm trying to add one more. There she is, Sharon. Yeah, Sharon. I'm like, Sharon, I know you've been down since day one. I know you've defended me, and I appreciate that. So, if I can get NBC to put you last on the list, then I'm gonna do that. I'm not able to add anyone. I don't know why. I'll try one more time. It's just not loading. All right, we'll do like one more Twitch question, then we'll probably shut it down. Rob has a huge podcast network. He has to delegate. I knew Rob when he was in podcast diapers. You know what I mean? So he can. Maybe I just won't answer any Rob has a podcast questions. I'll just be like, nope, not answering. All right, sorry, I can't add anymore. For whatever reason, I can't add anyone. I won't be doing any more live Q&As. This was it, but I will be live tweeting the episodes because I'm excited to see how things play out, just like you are. But yeah. Why not give Phaedra her flowers? Riley, go back to the beginning of this live and watch it. Did I keep the white jacket? The white jacket was not mine. Yo, but anyways, if you guys enjoyed this, we're live every morning at 9:30 on twitch.tv/DaneGheesling. And thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Twitch, I'm going to stay on and talk to you guys for a little bit. But Instagram, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Sky Kate, thank you. Emily, thank you. Emily Waldini, thank you. Mike, appreciate you. CM Govern, Ashley O. Ashley O, I tried Pal World. It's not really for me, but still come over to Twitch and say I'm Ash Yo from Instagram. Give you a shout out. Lise, thank you. Antoine, love you. William, appreciate you. Elena, thank you. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Also, if you're interested in more interviews, like I interviewed Ekin-Su, Janelle, Brittany, recruiting coordinator from U of M. It's on just type in Dan Gheesling podcast on Spotify and iTunes. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed the run. Hope you're not disappointed. And I'll see you guys in another 10 years. Yo, CDM, I appreciate it. First time chatter, welcome. Let's get some music on and I'll answer some more questions. Thank you guys, by the way, for letting me come back and do what we do. And really, like, you haven't missed a beat. I've missed a few beats, but it's good now. Like, now that it's over, I mean, we still have a finale to shoot. Like, the show will get closer and closer to normalcy. No, I don't think the person from Rap is not that. It's like Tom Smith or something interviewing me. I'm totally joking about Rob has a podcast, by the way. I just was surprised it wasn't him. Yo, RTV Jane, thank you. Avatar, thank you. Extern, thanks for the prime. Can you speak to wearing loafers with no socks? Skojo, there actually are socks, but they're hidden socks. At an amazing where I went to high school, I graduated with a guy whose grandfather started a tailor company in Dearborn, so he got me decked out before I went. I do a podcast with Parvati. I hope to. I'd like to. I haven't asked her though. Yo, thanks Hannah, I appreciate it. Sorry, 07 ad eaters. Yeah, I'd love to do a podcast with Pete too. Guest star on Twitch? I don't know how that works. Merch too soon to capitalize on Traitors hype. Yo, Twin Rova, I appreciate it. But yeah, no, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will say it stung a lot more in person. I will say that. Like, I was watching it with my wife, I'm like, I remember this hurting a lot more in person. You won your fiance over, nice. No, you gotta understand, like, the funeral, I'm driving the boat. This was like, I'm dodging bullets, man. It was tough. But all right, during the final vote, how confident, not confident? During the final vote, like, I knew. Like, when Kate started piping up and MJ, like, they didn't show up, like, they were all, like, kind of sharing notes. I'm like, all right. I love Traitors, the game. I love everything about it. But I think they're going to have some great casts in the near future. Do I know what happened in the rest of the season? No, I wasn't there for it. What makes you think I would know? Yo, Skojo, thanks for the 10 gifted. I appreciate it. What do you think of the faithful strategy, keep an allied traitor? I think it's good strategy. For sure. But I think it's harder to play the short game with your style if you don't adapt. I didn't adapt very well. But I think what this did do, it like added a different gear. You know, like, I'm used to playing only one way. Now it's like, okay, I have experience playing another way. So maybe in 10 years, if I play a short game, it'll be different. Can I explain more about Peter's logic on his plan? It was great logic. It was a great execution. And
ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
That's what probably went in Peter's head. Sarah, I went through like a 4-page debriefing. I'll post this on YouTube. What rule would I add? You don't understand the logic though? He told 3 people who he thought were traitors that he had the shield. So that we didn't murder him. We knew that the other 4 people didn't have shields because we took his word as truth. And so he narrowed down out of the whole group that 3 people, at least one of the 3 people were a traitor. It didn't have to be, but it was a good move.